Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva promises to end an era of devastation in a first day in office filled with symbolism.
Ex-Pope Benedict XVI's body will be moved to St. Peter's Basilica from his monastery and will lie in state for 3 days ahead of his funeral on Thursday. Ukrainians face a grim start to 2023 following more Russian missile and drone attacks. However, a US think tank says Russian ammunition stocks are running low.
Fighting back tears and breaking with some of the traditions, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has been sworn in as Brazil's president for the third time on Sunday. In a busy day with a number of official duties, Lula and his team made sure the first day in office was filled with symbolism. His first stop was the parliament, where he spoke in front of lawmakers and representatives from other countries gathered in the capital. There, Lula declared what he called the end of the worst periods in Brazilian history. Democracy was the great victory in this election, overcoming the greatest mobilization of public and private resources ever seen by the opposition, the most violent threat to the freedom of the people, the most abject campaign of lies and hatred. Plots to manipulate and embarrass the Brazilian electorate. Never before have state resources been so distorted in favor of an authoritarian project of power. Lula also spoke of ending devastation and said those guilty of crimes against the nation will eventually be punished, without mentioning his predecessor's name directly. The energized left-wing president took the opportunity to showcase a new phase of reconciliation, environmental preservation and social justice on his return to power.
Thousands of people are expected to pay their respects to former Pope Benedict XVI as a period of lying in state begins ahead of his funeral on Thursday. Benedict's body was displayed on Sunday in a chapel of the Vatican monastery where he'd lived, but from today will be on view in St. Peter's Basilica for those who wish to pay tribute to him in person. Catholics in Paris have given their opinion of the Pope, who broke with tradition and stood down due to poor health more than a decade ago. Benedict had a mixed reputation. He was regarded as an unrivalled theologian, but attracted critics for his failures to recognise and act on the scale of sexual abuse within the global Roman Catholic Church. He was nothing like John Paul II, this rector says. But succeeding John Paul II, what can you do? He did so humbly, like a man serving God's vineyard. He did it with what he had, his talents, notably his theology. I was always impressed. This might make you laugh. You always felt smarter when you were listening to him. He could make you understand the mystery of faith with simple words.
I thought he was too old-fashioned and not the right direction for the Catholic Church. But it's sad. He was the leader, so...
Benedict's funeral will be held in St. Peter's Square and will be a simple, solemn and sober ceremony in keeping with his wishes. The Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, came under renewed shelling on Sunday night, according to the city's mayor. There were reports of explosions in the centre, but no indication of any casualties. It follows an earlier wave of Russian strikes on New Year's Day, when air raid sirens wailed across the country just after midnight, putting an end to New Year's celebrations, however muted. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday night that his country's forces had downed 45 Iranian-built drones launched by Russia on the first day of 2023, showing that Ukraine's air defences were working. Russia's defence ministry said it had targeted a military-industrial complex involved in the production of drones. US think tank the Institute for the Study of War says Russian forces will struggle to keep pace on the front line as ammunition stocks are running low. It claims resources could dry up as early as March.
As COVID-19 cases surge in China, European nations are tightening their security. From Sunday, travellers arriving in France from China have been required to wear a surgical mask and have agreed to undergo random PCR tests on arrival. France's Minister of Health and Prevention says this allows them to better monitor the disease. He told reporters that this control on arrival is not a control intended to prevent citizens from entering the territory, but is a more scientific control that allows us to follow the different variants in a precise way. These are essentially Omicron variants that are currently in China. Amid mounting concern at the situation in China, François Braun says he wants other European countries to introduce similar practices. He said France is having a discussion at the European level this week to harmonise this model of care. The Spanish and Italians have already taken these measures, he said, as have the Americans. France will push this methodology to be adopted by all European Union countries. From Thursday, passengers from China will also have to present a negative PCR or antigen test from the last 48 hours. Since Beijing's zero-COVID policy was lifted, hospitals have been overwhelmed, with mostly elderly and vulnerable patients who have received little or no vaccination. The 1st of January 2023 marked the start of a new era for Croatia. With its accession to the Schengen area confirmed, border controls were abolished and the kuna was replaced by the euro as the country's national currency. The President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, visited Zagreb to mark the occasion. A small crowd gathered in the city's main square to watch von der Leyen having a coffee with Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković and then paying in euros. Residents here seem happy about the change, with many looking forward to hassle-free travel in and out of neighbouring countries.
This is very good for all Croatian people, for all Europe, yes, of course, because we wait always 1-2 hours on the border to cross the border, and now it's perfect. Yes, we like this. It's very good.
And it's good news for visitors too. The change in currency means it's one less thing to worry about for most European tourists.
I am from the Netherlands, so every time I come here I had to exchange from euros to kunas, and now I don't have to do that, so it's very nice. And I think that since Croatia is already part of the European Union, it just makes everything a lot easier.
On Sunday, von der Leyen, Plenković and Slovenian President Nataša Pirc-Musar held a joint press conference at a key border crossing between Croatia and Slovenia.
The next generation of Croatians will grow up in Schengen. People will be able to travel freely. Business will be unhindered by checks. Seamless travel will bring tangible results for people living along the border, working across the border, or having family on both sides of the border.
Croatia is the first country to join the Schengen zone in 11 years, but it could also mean a heightening of security along its borders with non-EU nations like Bosnia and Serbia.
The border between Slovenia and Croatia is 670 kilometers long, and the press conference was held at its busiest point, about 10 kilometers from Zagreb. In 2019, the last year before the pandemic, 29 million people were registered at the border crossings between the two countries.
These yoga enthusiasts are honing their skills while practicing alongside downward-facing dogs. Puppy yoga is more or less exactly what it sounds like. A class with the added benefits of cute puppies roaming around to cuddle and play with. It's a practice gaining momentum in England.
The difficulties are that it's hard to focus because obviously they're adorable, so you can't not look at them. But also the little nibbles that they give you, or maybe they're climbing on you, is sometimes a bit of a practice, but it's a beautiful practice. Be self-aware more than anything.
All puppies are fully vaccinated and at a stage in their development where socialising is important. Instructors say the class is all about doing what feels good for you. So if a pup decides to take a nap on you and you can't move, that's okay too.
This has got puppies. That's the reason why. Yeah, that's why we came. I do like yoga though. It's nice to have a nice stretch. But I just don't do it. I don't do it normally, but because there's puppies, that's the incentive.
Yeah, they're just so cute. Yeah, and I just feel really energised now.
Classes last 1 hour.
But the last 15 minutes is dedicated to cuddles, play, and of course, photographs with the puppies.